Lindsey Graham, Evan Bayh, Alan Simpson.
Michael Chertoff.
Michael Chertoff.
Secretary Chertoff.
Barbara Boxer, Bill Frist.
Joseph Lieberman. Tom Davis.
Saxby, Chambliss, Jane Harman.
Mary Matlin.
But the suggestion there by the press, not the locals, was that Cheney was covering up, that it's always done this way. No, it's not always done that way. And if someone had done some reporting, or even called the Democratic State Party chairman, they would have learned it's always done the other way, where there's a presumption of accident.
I think I made a mistake. I think it was inappropriate for me to lose my cool with the press secretary representing the president. I don't think it was professional of me. I was frustrated. I said what I said. I think it created a diversion from some of the serious questions in the story. So I regret that. I was wrong and I apologize. And the vice president's office doesn't feel an obligation to disclose that to the American people directly. You do it through a ranch owner in Texas. It just strikes me as odd.
It strikes you as odd because you live in a parallel universe. It did not strike Americans as odd.
Well, Chris, this was mostly a personal tragedy. This man got shot, was in the hospital, had a heart attack. I think more than anything, it goes to show how out of touch Washington is with the rest of the country.
Well, this story has so many legs that it has nothing to do with partisan politics. Everybody is interested in it because it really speaks to Vice President's penchant for secrecy.
It's probably been better to have it come from the Vice President's office, but I associate myself with Evan, and Nancy's the gift that keeps on giving for Republicans, but Evan Bayh's got it right, and I'm ready to talk about something else.
I continue to serve at the pleasure of the president. I think my responsibility is to try to fix the department. And as long as the president wants me to do that, I'm going to continue to stay on the job.
I'm ready to wait and see if he fixes his department. In contrast, by the way, our Secretary of Defense continues to stonewall after these new pictures of Abu Ghraib. If I were advising President Bush, I'd say the Defense Department is where I'd make the cabinet change right away.
I am very committed, however, to finding not just one person, but actually a team of people to lead FEMA.
I believe that it's time for FEMA as we know it to go. I think it's time to dissolve it and rebuild it within the Department of Homeland Security, because to take it outside would be to make a redundant organization.
Well, I think FEMA's got to be reorganized. I'm not sure it should stay in the Department of Homeland Security for this reason. They're competing for dollars.
We need to do what it takes to listen to al-Qaeda operatives, to know where they're calling from, to protect this country, period. But there's no reason why we can't do that, and Senator Graham would agree with me on this, while also providing the American people some checks and balances.
Number one, to make FISA more flexible. Number two, to have broader congressional oversight and preserving judicial review, a warrant requirement, and a limited class of cases. I think there'll be a bipartisan majority for those three things, and I hope the White House will work with us. I believe they will.
Does it have to be thrown over to the courts, going back to your question? I don't think so. I personally don't think so.
I think it should be brought under FISA. I think that this is a capability we need, but it must strictly comply with the law and with the Fourth Amendment.
The White House has now agreed that a legislative fix for this is possible, and that more extensive briefings on a regular basis should be given to Congress.
According to the Cook Political Report, in a Democratic horse race, Senator Clinton, as you can see, there's way ahead. Senator Kerry is next. And you're back, here you come, in 8th place at 3%. With all due respect, sir, why isn't this a waste of your time and money?
Chris, I care about the future of our country more than I do the polls, and I'm deeply concerned about the direction in which we're going. And I'm deeply concerned that this city that we're in today, Washington, D.C., is broken. And rather than being an instrument for addressing our challenges, has become an obstacle. So I'm thinking about what role I might play in doing something about all of that. And it involves something more important than reading public opinion polls, you know?
Will this be a liability for the Republicans in the 06 elections?
No. The fact that we are giving seniors affordable access to prescription drugs by choice, it's voluntary. If they didn't have before, of course it's not going to be a liability. I think it'll be a huge plus.
Now, I'd like to talk about the serious business of this nation, things that I do not agree with the Vice President on. Well, Maureen Dowd, the diva of the smart set, would be swooning. Moms across the country would be saying, hey, she thinks like me. That's right. A guy shoots his friend. That's not relevant to my life. Let's move on to serious issues.
Good money.